She was like, you can't hire her. You almost didn't get hired.
Because of my name.
Because of your name.
More!
Lunch break!
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence.
Date! Break!
Break, date. Oh, who knows?
Time to eat.
Yay.
I'm hungry.
This is a weird combo.
Is it?
I don't know. I feel like I rarely ever talk to you one-on-one.
What do you mean? We talk one-on-one all the time. You remember our last conversation? Hey, did you finish the call sheet yet?
Oh yeah, that was great. That was such a deep combo.
This is our opportunity to get to know each other.
Yep, because I don't work with you at all.
Yeah.
For today's plus one is actually Andrew Liu.
All right.
Who requested Chinese and Taiwanese food.
Yeah. Oh, good. So I think communication is hard between us because one, there's this huge piece of plexiglass, and I'm also very hard of hearing, and you also speak very softly.
Yes.
So I feel like a lot of the conversations we've had weren't had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. So now is our time to start those conversations.
I feel like everybody in Wong Fu has had a story of when they had met Wong Fu at like a previous time. Like Jen had met them at like Comic-Con, and like Taylor and myself had met them at different film festivals. Did you have any of those moments meeting Wong Fu in the past?
I did. They came to UCI when I was a second year.
Was I around?
No, I don't think so. It was like Christine.
Oh, for EBU.
I don't even know if it was for EB. I think it was just like a college tour.
Was Taylor there?
I don't remember him being there. But I assume he might have been if it was like 2013, 14.
But you didn't get to meet them.
I took photos with them three.
Oh, so there's a photo out there.
Yes. I showed Phil before and he was like, what?
Was that before or after you made the transition into your film major?
That was after. That was maybe like half a year after I transitioned out.
Did that event make you be like, I made the right choice switching into film? Or were you like, oh no, I should switch back to bio?
No, it was more like, oh, I'm just here because it's like a free event for UCI. I know of Wong Fu Productions, I might as well go. And I got tickets, so I just went.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
And now
it.
you're here.
Now I'm here, magically here.
And then somewhere in between, you were networking with Alan, right?
Yes, because we went to school together. So we have a mutual friend named Alan.
Yeah. He worked with us as a focus puller, first assistant camera.
He was also a intern for ISA. So I heard a lot about Wong Fu through him. That's, I guess, why I kept in the loop because of like all Wong Fu stuff, because he would always talk about it.
And then at some point, he brought you on to Ramel's shoot?
Yes.
So Ramel's another friend of ours, Romix Productions, shout out. And he was also with ISA for a time.
Alan brought me to Ramel's shoot at the house you were housemating, or you
The house
lived
that
at.
I lived at.
Yes, it's a very weird story. And I met him. What do you remember from meeting me, I guess?
I feel like I remember us filming in front of the house, and it was, in the middle of the night. I don't even remember if I was like crew on that set, or if I just happened to live there.
You just happened to live there and you're like, oh, I'll help out because...
Yeah, because it was getting late and I wanted to go to bed. So then I was like helping with like lighting and stuff.
You were super intimidating the first
Was
time
I
met you. Because like you got mad because they were running wires really badly. So you were like yelling at people. And I was like, I don't want to get on this person's bad side.
Oh no.
And then I was like, okay. Yeah, it's just, I talked to you about just what you did. And then you brought me onto Asian Bachelorette.
The first one.
Yes, the first one. And that was the inception of me helping Wong Fu.
I did have a question I wanted to ask you though. I am curious how you got into liking movies. Because I feel like in terms of like film critics, you're definitely up there with like Taylor and Chris in like your film critiques. Like in high school, like I tried to, like I was watching a lot of like film review channels, like The Spill, and I thought like, like that seems like fun. But then I quickly realized after like writing a couple reviews, like I wasn't very smart. And like my writing ability back then was pretty bad. And like my analytical ability was pretty bad. After watching like you guys' film reviews and hearing you talk about movies, I'm actually pretty curious.
I feel like I'm not even really in all that though. Like I think I just absorbed so much content that like I've kind of created like this scale for myself. Like, okay, this, if it doesn't hit this, it's bad. If it doesn't hit this, it's like, it wouldn't be in my top movies or TV shows, I guess.
Well, I guess like Like, were your parents big movie watchers, or maybe your brother, or?
Not even. Like, we would go to the movies a lot. That's like our main source of like entertainment, or like that's how we bonded. Just because like my family came from Taiwan and like they didn't really do the typical like American, like, oh, go camping or like go do like these wholesome American activities and stuff. So like the only thing they knew of was like movie watching, because that's like what they're familiar with, and that's how they connected with like American culture. So I guess as a child I went to the movies a lot. A reason why I lean more towards filmmaking and stuff.
Oh, but a funny story though, for people that are confused when we refer to Jessica, is that there is another Jessica in the circle who's my fiance. So part of the whole...
Not fiance anymore by the time...
Oh, by the time this comes out, she'll be my wife.
Oh, so cute.
But funny story, the whole hiring process of Jessica. You're definitely like on top of the list for like a very long time, and I was like, telling Phil about you and telling like Taylor, like we gotta figure out a way to work with her more. And then I was telling my fiance at the time, Jessica, about it. No, she wasn't even my fiance yet. She
Your
was still my girlfriend.
At the time, yeah.
So she was like the only Jessica in the circle. And she was like, you can't hire her. You can't bring on another Jessica. You almost didn't get hired.
Because of my name.
Because of your name.
And it's funny because like we have like a very, very, not just Jessica, but my last name's Lynn and her middle name's Lynn.
So it's not like you can be, also Jessica Lynn. Anyway, somehow it happened, and
now I'm here. Now you have 2 Jessica Lynns in your life.
All right, so we're gonna move on to some questions from Patreon. This was actually a funny one that I saw. We're both millennials, by definition. What's the worst thing about being a millennial?
Being called a millennial. I don't know, because I don't really associate like whatever, like Gen Z or Boomer or whatever with how you are as a person, I guess. Because I feel like there's a lot of Boomers that can totally act like a millennial, or like a millennial that can totally act like a Boomer. What is yours?
I think along the same lines of being called a millennial, I don't know if I talked about this on lunch break, but I feel like the millennial generation is like the generation of labels.
I can see that.
Because there's so many different just like personality types, right? Like the MBTI. And that's not even the only thing. So a lot of people kind of identify to that, right? And there's also all the astrology. Everybody's kind of trying to pick and choose what category they fit into. But, obviously we also want to be vocal that everybody is like an individual and everybody's different, and, to be appreciative of that, right? So it's kind of like 2 conflicting ideas, like assigning a label to something, but also being like, oh, labels don't define me, I think is a very unique thing to millennials. Do you ever notice that?
Because I feel like because our generation is so into putting a label, I feel like it's easier for us to learn about who exactly we are and what we do and don't like, though. Which I think is like a pretty good thing. If it's put into these compartments of like, okay, you are ESFJ or whatever.
Yeah.
You can let other people know what you are. So it's easier to communicate, I think.
I think a big thing, more from an individual, is to not lock yourself into one thing, because I think once you lock yourself in, then that, prevents you from like your growth too. Like if you grow up as an introvert, you could, through some certain circumstances become an extrovert, and vice versa, right? Like you could be a very energetic child growing up and very outspoken social, but then you can become more reserved through different experiences, or just just maturing through life. Not saying that extroverts are immature or introverts are immature or something. You know what I mean? It's like people can change, people can grow, people can learn, and I think that's one thing to remember when you are kind of researching these different labels and categories of personalities or whatever, that you're not stuck to it.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that people forget a lot.
First question: do you guys prefer being in front or behind the camera?
Ooh.
Easy. Ready?
Is it easy?
I know your answer.
Do you?
Mr. 10K?
3, 2, 1. Behind the camera. No, I don't mind being in front of the camera these days, but it definitely took a lot of practice to feel like comfortable. Do you feel like you're getting there?
Slowly, I think. There are still like, if I do film something by myself, I feel like I need to do like a billion takes. Just because I would nitpick like every little thing I did. I'm like, oh no, I don't like the way I said that, or I messed up that. Or I'm like, oh man. Yeah, it's like slowly getting easier. As someone like Sue that's pretty introverted, it's definitely a huge like out of my comfort zone when I first started.
You've been doing great.
Thank you.
I think all the fans love you.
When do you think you transitioned from, oh, I'm okay with being on camera, to, oh, I really enjoyed being on camera?
enjoy being on camera.
Or like, oh, I'm down, like I want to do it. Let's go.
I think it comes down to like when there's a topic that you're particularly like passionate about. Like when I was doing like educational content on like TikTok, it's something that I enjoy doing. You know, I'm lucky to have a job that, you know, I enjoy all the little things, all the little tasks that we do, and all the techniques that we're able to use. So being able to share that kind of helped to re-spark my joy for like filmmaking. So when I'm able to kind of speak from my own experience, or like, you know, knowing that, oh, like that life experience could help somebody that is going through a similar situation, I think that's what like flips the switch and is like, oh, it's less about me at that point. It becomes more about the person that is watching and absorbing that information, you know?
Right.
I don't know if there's like a specific moment that like clicked, but I think the more you do it, it clicks more often, you know, when you see our interns that come through and they like take on like the certain things that we teach them, or even like the crew that comes through set, or the different, you know, messages we get back from the audience and the comments. I think it all helps to motivate us and keep us going.
Like on that topic of like teaching and stuff, like have you ever thought of in the future quitting the film industry and then just teaching? Because you do a very good job at it.
I don't think I would ever quit per se. I think it's always something that you'd be able to do. And I think one thing I've been telling people a lot lately is that you can really apply filmmaking to any career. Because any career, any job, any market is going to need some kind of advertising, some kind of like educational content to be created, right? Like you can think about the most random job and you can figure out a way to make filmmaking apply.
Yeah, especially now with the age of social media, like you need to know how to market your stuff in order to succeed.
So like filming on your phone for Instagram or TikTok, right? That's filmmaking, and you're applying all the same principles that we use just for maybe a nonfiction situation. And I think that's really cool. So like no matter what area I like shift into, like that will always kind of be a part of my like ability. What advice would you give yourself in high school and then college and then right after college? 3 points of advice to give young Jessica Lynn.
I would say to join more clubs / sports activities, I guess. I did badminton for a year, but our team got canceled.
Oh, what?
Because we were so bad. So it kind of just like put a wrench in like, me doing like some physical activity for my high school.
Were you varsity badminton?
No, I was in JV. For most of like the clubs I did, it was all like volunteer clubs versus like something more...
Like social?
Yeah, they're all social versus something more like interest-based.
Oh, okay.
There weren't that many club options, I guess, in terms of that. College, I would say don't do film.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like I've met so many people now that like we've been working in like the film. It's like you don't need a degree for it. Like I think if I was smart enough, maybe like computer science, because it feels like that's where the money's at, or healthcare, because that was like my original plan.
And then like figure out a way to turn that into like filmmaking, or?
Yeah, or like filmmaking on the side, if anything. Because like film was never in like my agenda since like high school. Because I feel like me going into college, I didn't know what I wanted to do at all. And I don't know, filmmaking kind of just landed in my lap kind of thing. And then post-grad.
If you meet a guy named Benson, run away. No.
Run away.
Do you still feel like you're in that post-grad like mindset?
Yeah, just because like I feel like, I guess especially with this year, I feel like there hasn't been like a room for growth to happen, just because like you're just stuck at home. I guess it's also like it's what you make of the situation too. What advice would you give yourself?
I don't know.
Like which year would you feel like needs the most advice then?
Probably my senior year of high school needed the most advice. That was like I guess one of the first times I kind of felt that feeling of like loneliness, right? All throughout, you know, school, my brothers would be around. And I think senior year of high school, my oldest brother was finishing college and then my other brother just started college. So like in that sphere, I like didn't really feel like I had that brotherly mentorship, when I feel like that was probably my most like transformative time, at least in my teens, right? During that time was like the recession, so my parents were like always working, didn't really have that parental connection either. In terms of college, I think the biggest thing I would tell myself looking back is to like control my finances sooner, like learn about finances, know how credit cards work, and just like know how to save. I think that's the biggest thing, I think. I failed a finance class twice because it was online and I was kind of lazy. After college, like I still didn't even learn from those mistakes. And like a lot of it too was because I was in LA and I was kind of pursuing this risky career, right? I didn't want to like move back home as like a failure or something. So then I took the debt on myself and like I didn't really ask for help. Yeah, those were probably the biggest things. All right, last question.
What's your dream place to live and why?
You know, I've always wanted to feel what it's like to live in like an igloo. Like, is it really as insulated as, you know, they say it is? Because like, I've seen like many like Discovery channels where like they like digs a hole in the snow. That looks comfortable, but it also looks very cold. I would want to try to live in an igloo, maybe for just like a night or two.
Do you like the cold?
I don't mind the cold.
The cold never bothered you anyway?
But, you know, at the same time, I've never experienced like a blizzard or anything. What's your dream place to live?
Maybe like Taiwan, just because like my family's there. Just because like I don't have extended family here. So it's like a rare opportunity. Oh, I could be with like my grandparents and cousins and stuff.
The other Lins. These were great questions. Thank you, Patreon. Thank you for everybody that's participated. Also, thank you to Andrew, our +1, for joining us today.
If you want to be a +1 on a future episode, consider joining our Patreon today at patreon.com/Wongfu Productions.
And make sure to check out Wongfu Store. We just happened to be coordinated today. This was unintentional, but that's just, you know, great minds think alike. And we'll see you guys on the next lunch break.
Bye.
Bye.
Once again, thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. They offer a number of tools and features to help build your website. We love the video blocks features because it allows us to embed YouTube videos straight into our website. It's great to showcase our videos to potential clients and audiences alike. So head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready, go to squarespace.com/Wongfu for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.